I'm coming to you from the veranda of the Redners Event Center for Game 3 of this 6-game series between the Reading Fightin Phils and the Akron Rubber Ducks. Alongside Jake Starr, my name is Bob McCoy. We're talking to the manager of the Fightin Phils, Al Pedrique. And Skip, let's start with this series. We got a left-hander tonight for Akron and Parker Messick, and a right-hander, Gene Cabrera, makes his Reading debut. Tell us a little bit about what you found out about Gene Cabrera making his first start for you after a good start to the season at Jersey Shore.
Bob, Jake, hi again. Thank you very much for having me in the show. We're looking for this kid to get on the mound. I heard a lot of good things about it. His makeup, he's very aggressive. He will challenge the hitters. He throws a lot of strike. And the one thing that I heard about him, that for the young age, he likes to mix all his pitches. He will use both sides of the plate, north, south, east, west. So that's nice to hear, especially when the kid hasn't pitched, pro baseball maybe 3 years, 3 full season. So we're very excited and see, him on the mound. I'm sure he's going to give us a good outing, which we need one, and hopefully offensively, we can come through tonight.
Well, let me just jump in quick with that, because he's getting tested right away. Because the first 2 games of the series, Akron has shown they can hit the baseball. So you have to be impressed by what you've seen from them over the first 2 nights, and it's going to be a challenge for him.
Well, it will be, but just watching him a little bit in the dugout, watching the game and how he threw in the bullpen the other day, and just watching him this afternoon when he came in the clubhouse, it seemed like it's another day for him. And I asked Phil if it does him for real, and he told me yes, that's Cabrera. You're not going to see anything that's going to be overexcited. But he will pitch. He loves to compete, and he's going to give us a better chance.
When it comes to getting new pitchers, Gene Cabrera tonight, Sam Audegary gets the ball tomorrow night. For you, for Phil Condary, for Riley, your pitching coaches, you have to get acclimated really quickly to these guys. Maybe you see them a little bit in spring training, but if you don't see them in spring training, how do you get acclimated? How do you get to know them so quickly so you guys can kind of effectively coach them the best way possible?
Well, once they get to us, and the good thing about this organization, we teach the players, once you get moved up or you get sent down, make sure you go and talk to the manager, introduce yourself to the staff. And these 2 kids, that's what they did when they first got here. Phil talked to them, obviously being the pitching coach. I had talked to them a few times in the bullpen, and you can feel that they smart kid, they're very mature, and you do the best you can to make them feel like part of the team right away. Sometimes it's hard to do because we don't have enough time to meet with them before we go on the field. But again, the makeup of these 2 guys for being so young, I think that they're going to adjust to the team and just do just fine.
You felt very comfortable going into the start of the second half, where this team was, and that you were ready to make a run. And obviously things have not started out the way it is, but we're only 2 games into this series. It's still a series that you can still grab by the throat, but it has to start right away before this second half gets too far down the road.
Yeah, I still feel good about this team. I mean, we just started the second half. We still have a lot of baseball to play, but I agree with you, Bob. We have to start tonight, get a momentum on our side, start winning a few games in a row so we can get our confidence back, which is number 1. And it's the most important thing that you pay attention as a staff, because when you lose a game after game, that's when they start mentally, questioning themselves, and that's when we can get in trouble. But once we start winning some games and they see that the organization is making some move by sending us some help, and I'm sure the clubhouse right now feel very good about that situation. Again, we just got to tonight start hitting the ball, catching the ball, pitching well, and win some games.
And we kind of look All-Star breaks a little bit ahead from now. Obviously, it starts after the game on Sunday. You've played, you've coached. As a player and a coach, what do you tell the guys about taking a break but keeping your minds and bodies fresh, so you're refreshed but you're not rusty when you come back next Friday in Portland?
No, I'm a firm believer that you tell them, and I had them throughout my career, since I started coaching in 1995, just go home, enjoy your family, relax, forget about baseball at least for 2 days. Do something different. And then be safe. Once we get back, it's why we're gonna you always have an optional workout the day before, you get back into action, and you take care of business and during the workout. Make sure they go out, stretch, run, Pitchers will throw bullpen, and the hitters will go on the cage when we get to Portland, and take care of business and prepare for starting the second half. I mean, after the All-Star break. So for me, the mental part is the most important. So you get home. And like I said, enjoy your family. Once you show up, you're back in town. It's time to take care of business and finish strong.
From an offensive standpoint, we talked about this at the beginning of the season. There comes points in time where you feel as a manager you've got to do some things to try to kickstart the offense as best as you can when it's scuffling and scores some runs. That's kind of where you are right now. But you got to get guys on base to get things to happen. Are you working? Is there things specifically that you're talking to them about trying to get some guys on base so you can start making some things happen?
Well, Bob, number one is start with the starter. Once you throw the first pitch, that you got to establish and be able to show us what type of game we're going to have. When you start the game walking the leadoff hitter, that's not a good news. So we put a lot of emphasis on the pitching staff to understand that once the game starts, you're responsible for setting the tone. Once you do that, and then the rest will follow. Yes, offensively, we need to take advantage. We need to walk more, steal some bases like we did in the first half. But once you get behind and the score 3, 4, 5 runs, it's hard to do something, and you got to depend on getting guys on bases and wait for the long ball or ball in the gap, so we can score 2, 3 runs and get back in the game. So for me, number one, in order to have success and get back in the winning streak, the starters, the pitching staff needs to keep us in the game.
And an individual player on the offensive side is Otto Kemp. We've seen a lot of flashes, a lot of pop from him so far in about a month here now in Reading. What have Brock Stassi liked from what you've seen from Otto Kemp so far?
Well, he was great when he first got here, and obviously we know as an organization that he can hit. He will hit. He's very smart, very patient. He's a hard worker. He continues improving with his routine on a daily basis. Lately, he's been chasing a lot of stuff, a lot of pitches out of the zone, especially sliders down the way, and he knows that he's been swinging big pitches. So right now for him is to get back on track. It's a pitch selection. Make sure you swing strike. He's capable of drawing the ball to right center, and that's when he's good. He gets hot, and right now he's pulling off a little bit, and that's why he's missing those pitches down the way. Like I said, he's a smart hitter. He's going to figure it out. He's been working very hard in the cage with Brock Stassi, our hitting coach. And again, this is the kid that it's easy for him to make the adjustment, and that's why we have no doubt that he's going to get back on track soon.
One of the things that we don't get a chance to talk enough about is defense, and I know it's so important to you. And when you run in the outfield that you're running out there right now with Cade Ferguson, Marcus Lee Sang, and Ethan Wilson, across left to right, whichever order you put them in, that's a pretty good defensive outfield, and 3 guys who never think they can't go get a ball.
I like our chances with those 3. I mean, they're great. And the only guy who cannot play center is Wilson, but he's done a great job in the corner. Fergus and Lee Sang, they cover a lot of ground in center field. They got the speed, they got the instincts, and they take good routes. So from that standpoint, we feel good about. I would say that's probably our strength defensively in the outfield. And I feel like in the infield, that defense is going to get better.
And it feels like when Gabriel Rincones eventually gets back off the injury list, and maybe some other moves come after that you might find yourself with a lot of outfielders, right? So the question for you becomes, and it's a good question to have, how are you going to find a way to make sure you're getting all those guys, and even in the infield too, consistent at-bats and consistent time, and maybe moving them around the outfield too to get them looks at different spots?
Well, that's a good headache to have as a manager. When you got a lot of players, and especially guys that can play, they're getting better day in and day out. That's something as a staff, as a manager, you handle is by being honest with them. Hey, this is what we got. This is the plan. Your job is when you come in is to be ready, whether your name is in the lineup or not. And so far, since I've been here last year, the same thing. We have a bunch of good guys. They love to play. They love to compete, and they accept the role, which makes my job a lot easier. So I'm not concerned when Rincones gets back, whatever move we make after the All-Star break, because again, our makeup of these players that we have in the organization, they're true professionals.
We're going to find out. The Reading Fightin' Phils tonight against the Akron Rubber Ducks. The series is still there for the taking. It starts with tonight's Game 3 of this 6-game series. For Al Pedrique, Jake Starr, my name is Bob McCool. Sit back and wait. We got the lineups and first pitch coming. Reading Fightin' Phils.